No, Habib Saab taught me, I mean, there's so much been said about Habib Saab, you know, I mean, his theatre, burlesque quality of his plays. The first plays I saw in my life, I didn't see traditional theatre. I was living in a town called Sagar, and you didn't, you know, weren't sort of aware. Later, because of Ashokji, we saw much more. But then this first spectacle that I saw and the possibility of theatre was Charandas show. When you saw just the idea of what theatre could do, and I mean, for me, I mean, a lot of people say that he was interested in the ordinary, right? But for me, Habib Saab, you know, from that ordinary, there was a very deep something else that was speaking, which was not very always stated. But, you know, there were many indications of where you could go in your head. So half the Habib Tanvir play for me, right? I mean, was the play, but there was another something that was being indicated through the play, which was taking me in many other places, which is the hallmark of any great work. That you can, and every time you saw Habib Tanvir play, it was kind of different. So I was blown, right? And I had worked with two theatre people. One was Badal Sarkar, and when I worked with Badal Sarkar, there was no structure. So there was an idea, so we improvised. So I mean, he came to me, and this was my first experience with Hain and with Badal of constructing something out of nowhere, you know. So that's what I held on to. So when I was making my first film, there was this character of Akhtar Beg, and the only person that I saw in front of me was Habib Tanvir. You know, because I realized that, you know, half my problems, I mean, just his face would do a lot of talking. So, I mean, there was, so the first time I was directing, it was pretty, so I was improvising with another actor. And I have this habit of, I'm a mathematician's son, right?
Yeah.
So my idea of life is chance, probability, maybe it can be this, maybe it can be that. I'm never sure, which is a big nightmare for my producers. Pata nahi Sudhir aage kya karega. So this I think learned from these people. So I was directing another actor and I told him something in the last moment, and he couldn't manage it. And Habib Saab looked at me and said, "Kya wo aaya, bekhoof actor hai, par khache uda दूं मैं इसके, कल जब मैं करूँगा कुछ तो उनकी आवाज़ ऐसी थी तो मैं थोड़ा सा वैसे डर गया." अब पहला जब मैंने सीन किया उनके साथ तो उन्होंने मेरी तरफ देखा कि मतलब ठीक था कि नहीं, तो फर्स्ट टेक, अब मैं क्या बोलूँ, तो मैंने कहा नहीं. So now I have this you know, task of telling Habib Tanvir, you know, my admired and loved and whatever, that I don't think this is right. So we went into a corner, you know, and I said, Habib Saab, क्या है कि वो क्लोजअप है और उसके पीछे ऐसा कोई म्यूजिक होगा और उसके पहले ये और उसके पहले वो है और ये सिनेमा है, तो ऐसा करिए आप इसका आधा करिए, इनफैक्ट आप कुछ मत करिए. ये कर, मैंने कहा आप अपने पे भरोसा करिए, आप बस रहिए, जस्ट योर प्रेजेंस, उसको आप खुद से थोड़ा बोल दीजिए कैजुअली, उससे हो जाएगा. मैंने कहा बहुत पहले एक्टिंग की थी मैंने फुटपाथ में, वो फुटपाथ में थे और दिलीप कुमार के साथ एक्टिंग की थी उन्होंने और ये सब किया था ना, ऐसा नहीं पहली बार कर रहे थे वो, मतलब वो छोड़ छाड़ के गए थे सिनेमा. He thought it was a dead medium ever since the talkies came. His idea was that when the talkies emerged, cinema became not art, and then it became commerce.
So how did he respond to your suggestion?
So he looked at me and he says, "Sada, Dekh." And that was the grace of the man, no?
Yeah.
That I'm just nobody. I'm 26, 27. I'm working with Habib Nanvir, the legend. I'm not at all working with somebody who... And this grace of this person who took me along. And I think I didn't make a very good first film. But because of Habib Nanvir, I learned how to make a film. Rather the process, so that play, the idea of play, the idea of let it be, and that you discover something at the end. And then in my conversations, I think in his plays, that's what Habib Saab was doing. He didn't know exactly what the play was till he completed it. And then maybe sometimes he didn't agree with it. And then something changed and something changed. So I've seen Agra Bazaar at least 5-6 times, and every time it was a different experience, totally, something had changed, And that's what I have imbibed from Habib Saab. I mean, this absolute genius and how to handle two contradictory selves. Here is this man who's gone back to Chhattisgarh, but here is this very erudite, learned man who knew every share and everything that had ever been written in Persian and more, and knew Shakespeare and knew this and knew history and knew the history of fascism. But here he was being able to communicate all that, his ideas, through the simplicity of that performance.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think I've still managed to actually execute what he taught. And because that's the level of genius, but, I mean, I'm so glad this is happening, and what Sudharma and what Anuradha was saying is very interesting, because Habib Saab is gone.
Yeah.
Nobody can be another Habib Saab. It's not possible. Nobody has that experience. Nobody. But what we can do is to carry this kind of idea of the spirit of taking something, playing with it, and taking it to its logical end.
Right.
And always staying true to some inner calling. I don't know what was Habib Saab true to. Maybe a kind of inner calling.
Right.
What is leading him, because what leads any artist to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, this is his thing.